What up, what up, what up? Welcome to the Lev Game Season 1, Episode 6, The Average Man's Perspective on Football. I am your co-host, Marcus. Joining me on the panel tonight is Mark. Say what up, Mark.
Hello.
Herman.
What's good, people?
And Brian.
Hey.
Before we get started, I want to encourage you to go over to sportsintel.net for some great commentary and opinion on everything sports. That's sportsintel.net. Also, if you like what you see, if you like what you hear, be sure you hit that subscribe button. It'll help us out a whole lot. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you'll get notifications when we go live. And about to jump into it. So what's going on, Herman?
Well, here we go, people. That's 2 weeks in the books with the NFL season. We had some pretty interesting games. I think football's starting to look like football again now. So it wasn't as sloppy as it was before. So let's go into the picks we did last week. First game was the Thursday night game. We had the Bengals versus the Ravens. I think on the panel, I picked the Bengals. Mark, who'd you have?
I chose the Baltimore Ravens. They didn't do it for me this week.
That's funny. Steelers fan picking the Ravens.
I mean, what? He was supposed to pick the Bengals, so either way.
I picked the team I thought was going to win.
Yeah.
What about you, Marcus? Who'd you have?
I picked the Ravens. Of course, didn't work out for me. They didn't look that great. Didn't look like they did in week 1. So.
And what about you, Brian?
I was also with you on the Bengals.
Two of us know something. Huh?
Absolutely.
It was a good game. I mean, division game. The score was actually a little bit closer than the game actually was, though. The Bengals really torched the secondary of the Ravens. It was pretty much in the middle of the field.
And it was a lot was with A.J. Green.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he had 3 touchdowns in the first half. And, I mean, if anybody on that offense you're going to stop, it's A.J. Green. So.
When the ex-Cowboys played in Wisconsin, Brandon Carr?
Yeah, technically.
You got to bring up the Cowboys.
Which is why he's no longer a Cowboy.
And transitioning right into the Sunday night game, Cowboys-Giants. Brian, who'd you have?
Absolutely had America's team on that one.
Most definitely, I picked the Cowboys. Mark?
I picked the Cowboys now. Home team. Cowboys, I thought was going to win it. They did.
Marcus, who'd you have?
Yeah, we all picked the Cowboys. It was pretty much the game I expected. Eli, I want to believe in Eli so badly, but it's starting to look really bad out there. But I'm putting a lot on his offensive line, man. I mean, they were just coming in there doing what they pretty much wanted to do. It was crazy.
I agree with you. On draft night, I know I said this. I had to go back and look at it, but on draft night, when they drafted Barkley, I said, well, there's no line for him to run behind. And that line is terrible. Manning was sacked 6 times Sunday night and had 1 fumble. And in comparison to Dallas, Dak wasn't even sacked that night. So, you can get these superstar players with no line, it means nothing. Beckham had 4 catches for 51 yards. That's your superstar receiver. 4 catches for 51 yards. If your line's not protecting your quarterback, it does not matter. And Dallas doesn't even have the greatest defensive front.
And they didn't get any help in the rushing game. Barkley he was 11 for 28 yards on rushing. He had much more receiving yards, 14 for 80 yards on receiving. But with no run game, then the Cowboys got nothing to do but just charge every time.
When you're throwing to your running back 14 times in a game, and you have one of the best wide receivers in the game, I mean that says a lot. And like Herman said, that offensive line was just letting the Cowboys come through there at will. I mean, you could say Eli's old and Eli's washed up, but no quarterback was going to do anything against that defense the way that they was coming through on the line. As soon as Eli got the ball, we were in the backfield tackling.
He couldn't even set up there without having a defender in his face. I'm going to move on to the Monday night game, which was the Seahawks and Bears. Who'd you have on that one, Marcus?
I picked the Seahawks. So once again, I'm on the losing side of things. It's pretty much the same problem they have in New York, the same problem they have in Seattle. No offensive line at all. I mean, Russell Wilson just running for his life. So,
Mark, who'd you have?
The Bears, Khalil Mack, he dominated that defense. how many turnovers did Seattle have? I think they had 5 in that game. Khalil Mack was the main culprit of all those turnovers, from the fumble and the interception return for touchdown.
They had 5 sacks and 2 forced fumbles.
Yeah, they were all over Russell. And like you said, Seattle doesn't have an offensive line. That Russell Wilson is running for his life back there. They don't really have a running game right now. So yeah, the Bears dominated.
What you have, bro?
Also had the Bears on that one, and like I had mentioned last week, with Russell being back there and with no Doug Baldwin, I mean, he really had no help. He couldn't get a running game started. He really had nobody to throw to. I mean, the game was really kind of a snooze fest because you knew the Bears were going to win, unless Trubisky was going to try to mess the game up and throw a couple picks and stuff. But, he managed the game well. They got a lead. They held on to the lead. And, I mean, Seattle's going to have to do a whole lot of overhauling in the next year or something because they just can't do it the way they're trying to do it.
Yeah, I picked the Seahawks. Even knowing how good Chicago's defense was, I expected Trubisky to turn the ball over. And I thought that Seattle had just enough offense to get by, but Russell Wilson, like you said, he's running for his life out there, and the Bears' defense is just ridiculous right now.
Mac's trying to make the MVP for defense this year.
Yeah, MVP period, maybe.
Yeah, he's right in MVP running as well as the Bears play.
But what he is injected into that defense it's ridiculous. I mean, you're seeing stuff. I don't even know what these offensive coordinators are doing. You need to be like, look, we need to stop Mac. Let me make sure somebody else beats us. Because at this point, it's just the Khalil Mack show. And I think every time he goes out there, he's trying to show the Raiders too.
Why you get rid of me?
So
I mean, if you want one of the dumbest moves all season. That Gruden letting Khalil Mack go to the Bears got to be one of the dumbest.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit later too. We're gonna move on to the Jaguars and the Patriots game. I picked the Patriots, and it was pretty much I thought it was gonna be a no-brainer game. Tom Brady versus Blake Bortles, and boy was I wrong. That's pretty much all I can say about that. Bortles had 377 passing yards, 4 touchdowns. He outplayed Tom Brady big time. Who'd you have, Ron?
Unfortunately, we on this panel are all idiots on this particular one, and I, for one, definitely have to eat some crow and give a shout out to Blake Bortles because he played his ass off and he deserved that win. Tom Brady, I think, only threw for like 279 yards and like 2 touchdowns, but
234.
It was 234. Okay, and that game really wasn't ever in question. I mean, whenever Bortles had to make a play, he made a play. He made a play with his legs. They ran with Yeldon. I mean, everything that they did to perfection, and I mean, it was a slaughter.
How about you, Marcus? Who'd you have? You had the Patriots.
Well, I never pick against the Patriots, but I just want to say this: the Patriots are going to lose a game, 2 or 3 this season. Last year they lost their first game to Kansas City. People were talking 2 years ago when I think that was another when they lost to Kansas City again, like the second, third game. Everybody's like, "Oh, Tom Brady's over." Brady and the Patriots, they get better as the season goes along. He was going to lose a game. I'm not taking anything away from Jacksonville. They did their thing. And, if it comes down to it, they're probably going to get a home field advantage. And New England's probably going to have to go to Jacksonville to play them for the conference championship. But I don't think, if you're a New England Patriots fan, you don't have anything to worry about.
What do you think, Mark?
I chose the Patriots in this game, too. I was impressed with Jacksonville. They would put a lot of pressure on Brady. But it also goes to show that the Jaguars double Gronk, so they forced New England to have somebody else make plays and come up for them. That didn't happen. They're missing Edelman big time. They're missing a wide receiver on the other end that go against Gronk, go with Gronk. So
not anymore.
But Jacksonville's defense really put it to them.
You know what's interesting too to think about this? Jacksonville did that without Fournette.
Yeah,
they didn't even have their starting running back. Mm-hmm. So for that game, like you said, could come down to home field advantage.
Yep.
And that was crucial. It could play a big part when it comes into the playoffs at the end of the year. So we have to keep an eye on that one because losing that one, I know what you're saying, Marcus. Yeah, the Patriots are going to lose some games. Losing that one, that wasn't a good one to lose.
Yeah, I agree. It wasn't a good one to lose, but and Gronk only had 2 receptions that whole game.
Yeah, they
doubled them. They doubled them. They had 2 people on them at all time. They forced New England to try to go to somebody else.
Right.
They forced them.
They didn't have anybody. Last game we picked last week was Packers-Vikings. I picked the Packers. Did you have?
I took the Vikings in this one.
How about you, Brian?
I also had the Vikings in this one.
Marcus?
I had the Packers.
So
We all
we were right and we were wrong. NFL and their ties. I mean, it was a good game. Kickers let both those teams down.
Yes.
Yeah.
And referees.
Yeah, that game was stolen from Green Bay. That game was stolen from Green Bay.
There's definitely some controversial calls in there, but according to the NFL, it was officiated properly. That's definitely debatable, but I think we know that it's going to come down to these 2 teams at the end, for the division. We all agreed on that with our original picks. So that was definitely very interesting.
And it was like a tale of 2 games. I mean, the first game, the first half, the Packers were doing what they do. It was down, and I think it was actually until like the 3rd or 4th quarter where Vikings actually started sparking. I think they scored 21 points or something like that in the 4th quarter to finally tie that game up in to go into overtime. But I mean, initially Green Bay was doing what they had to do to win that game, and technically they should have won.
Okay, so let's move on. We're going over the picks from last week. We're going to go ahead and move on to this week's picks. We're going to start with the Thursday night game, which is the Browns versus the Jets. And I'll give my pick first. I'm going to pick the Browns. They got to win one. They're knocking on the door. That Jets team this past Sunday was a little different than the one that played Detroit. And I'm going to leave it like at that. So, Mark, who do you have?
I have to agree with you, Herman. I think the Browns will get their first win in 2 seasons.
Yeah.
I think they get it. I think the Jets struggled more so in last week's game. And the Browns played so hard against New Orleans. They played hard, but they just didn't get the win. I think this weekend it comes. I'm taking the Browns.
Who you have, Brian?
I'm going with you guys again. I think that this is the Browns week. I think this Thursday night, especially with the Jets playing 3 games in such a short period of time.
In 11 days.
In 11 days. Going to the Browns Stadium, playing with the rookie quarterback. I think it's just too much on their plate to try to overcome it. And that defense of the Browns played New Orleans well. I mean, I thought they were actually going to win that game. And had they had a kicker that could kick a field goal, they still would have won that game, But the New Orleans defense is just kind of real questionable now. But when the Browns had to have it, they got it. They get it down there to get that touchdown in the 4th quarter. It's just they just had a bad kicker that can't help them win. So I think the Browns are due. If they aren't due this week, I can't tell you when they're going to get.
Who you got, Marcus?
I'm guess we're gonna go all across the board because I'm picking the Browns too. The Browns were in these last 2 games. They were very close. They didn't get blown out. They're a good team. They just can't seem to catch a break. They would have had that game last week. They had probably any other kicker out there. I mean, like my outrageous pick of the season was the Browns would make the playoffs. The Browns within the first 2 weeks looking like a good team. They were in those games,
and they were playing 2 good teams.
Yeah. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's bound. They're bound to win one of these days. So I'm predicting them on Thursday.
So we got free beer in Cleveland.
Free beer in Cleveland is coming this weekend. So all you Cleveland Brown fans out there, get ready. It's definitely going to happen. Moving on to the Lions and the Patriots. Marcus, who you got on this one?
You already know. I never pick against Tom Brady. Detroit looks like some garbage. Belichick is not going to lose like that two times in a row. Plus it's the Lions. Come on. I can't see the Lions beating the Patriots. Jaguars is totally different. Lions, no. Definitely Brady and the Patriots all day.
Brian, who you have?
I'm with Marcus on this one. I'm gonna go with the Pats. It's the coach, versus the coordinator on this one. And Belichick has a phenomenal record against his old coaches. Like Marcus said, it is the Lions. Matt Patricia, he seemed he was kind of like nervous this week. He said he was going to tell his team some things about the New England Patriots, but not everything, because he didn't want to overload them and have them overthinking. But it seems like he's already worried about it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this one to the Patriots.
Mark, who you?
Like you said, you got the teacher against the pupil. I think you work with a gentleman for over 15 years. You know his tendencies. You know what he like to call. I think the Patriots are going to beat him. I think Belichick knows Matt Patricia in and out, and he knows what his tendencies are. I think the Pats will beat him.
And I'm also going with the Patriots. So we got another one across the board that everybody agrees with the Patriots. And, you know, Belichick disciples don't usually beat Belichick. They just don't. And the Lions are looking really bad right now. I don't know if Matt Patricia is over his head. He just stands there on the sideline almost like a deer in headlights sometimes. It's kind of crazy. So, you know, he's feeling it right now. But, yeah, I don't see them beating the Patriots. Patriots aren't going to have two bad games in a row.
Considering how bad his defense did in Super Bowl last year, I'm surprised Detroit still even gave him that job. That should have been like a disqualification right there.
He's a Belichick disciple. Everybody wants the next Bill Belichick. Yeah. So, moving on, we got the Bucks and the Steelers. I'll start off with this one. I'm gonna go Tampa. Tampa is a hot team right now. Their quarterback is hot. He's doing stuff that nobody imagined. And right now, the Steelers, not to dog them out too bad, but the Steelers defense right now is a hot mess. Their team is starting to fall into turmoil almost. It's starting to look that way. We're going to talk about that a little bit later too. But I'm going with Tampa. Who you got, Ron?
I'm with you, Herman. Again, I mean, Tampa is on fire. I mean, we'll get to it a little later about Fitzpatrick and his statistics, not to mention his fashion sense, but I mean, he is on it right now. The defense is playing good enough. But, I mean, the way the offense is putting up points, the defense only has to do so much. Like Herman was saying, you know, Pittsburgh is kind of in a turmoil. I mean, with the Brown issue going on right now, they already had the Le'Veon Bell stuff going on. I don't know. It just seems tougher and tougher for the coach to keep that team in line to actually win a game. But we'll see. But I'm going with Tampa.
Marcus, who you got?
I agree with you guys. Tampa's hot right now. Fitzpatrick is looking great. However, I did pick the Steelers to win the AFC North. So I can't see them. They haven't won a game yet. I can't see going into week 3 and going into week 4 without having won a game. So as bad as things are in Pittsburgh, I can't see Tomlin letting that happen. I can't see Big Ben letting that happen. I'm picking Pittsburgh.
All right. And Mark, we'll let you wrap this one up.
This one, I mean, it's going to be hard for y'all to believe this, but Tampa, each week they played a tougher opponent, a tougher defense than the week before. And Fitzpatrick lit them up. I got to admit, the beginning of the season, when I looked at the schedule, I reckon, Tampa Bay, that's a win. I can't honestly say confident. I don't feel Pittsburgh's going to win this game. I think Tampa will beat them. We've got Steelers have some serious issues, starting with Le'Veon, and it's continuing on. But I got Tampa beating them Pittsburgh. Believe it or not.
Say it one more time.
So you know,
I got Tampa beating Pittsburgh.
All right, so you know the odds of you making the playoffs starting out 0-3. Well, not 0, but 0-2. It's pretty much impossible. So you're saying no playoffs for the Steelers this year?
It'll be playoffs, but I mean, it's going to be a hard ride. It's going to be rocky. It's going to be tough, but we'll still bounce back. But not the way Tampa and Fitzgerald's playing right now. Fitzpatrick's playing right now. No, I don't think that's going to happen.
I know that was hard for you.
Very. If we lose this game, I think I'll be walking out by halftime.
So let's move on to the next game. We got Atlanta and New Orleans. It's ought to be interesting. Who you got, Marcus?
This one's kind of hard, but I'm going to have to go with New Orleans simply because I don't think Atlanta's offense doesn't seem to have that edge yet. Then I still not putting up those numbers. Don't seem to have run a game. Anytime Matt Ryan has to be the rushing for the 2 rushing touchdowns, that's not a good sign. And except for their defense, the Saints look good. So, as long as you got Breeze back there throwing the ball, I'm going to have to go with the Saints.
Well, I'm going to go with Atlanta on this one. I feel like Atlanta's offense is starting to click a little bit. Believe it or not, which was kind of weird, Tevin Coleman looked good, and he looked better than Freeman, their starting running back, which is, Coleman could start on any other team, but for him to be second, he almost fits in better with what Sarkisian was trying to do with his offense. But I think that Matt Ryan was better last week, and I feel like with New Orleans and the way that they played Cleveland, Atlanta is a better team. I think so. I'm going to go with Atlanta on this one. I think it's a good old-fashioned home, divisional game, and Atlanta's at home too. So I give them out. Who you got, Mark?
This one, New Orleans and New Orleans. I'm going to have to take New Orleans on this one. I think Breeze and company is going to be a little bit much harder for Atlanta to go into the stadium and beat them in New Orleans. So I'm taking New Orleans.
Who you got, Brian?
I'm going to disagree with Mr. Parker on this one. I'm also going to go with the Falcons on this one. Part of the reason why I chose it is last week. Marcus, he did have to run in 2 touchdowns, but they kind of got that bugaboo out of their hair with this red zone issue. They got down in the red zone and scored 3 touchdowns. And y'all don't say that when Tom Brady is rushing for touchdowns. You don't hear this complaint either. So I like the way Atlanta did it. New Orleans defense is just terrible. New Orleans defense is awful. Atlanta has a defense. They can do some things. But, Drew Brees is on fire, too. Don't sleep on Drew Brees. But all said and done, I'm going to go with the home team.
And the last game we're going to pick this week is going to be Baltimore and Denver. Mark, who you got?
Had a tough time on this one. I chose Baltimore last week. I'm not going to choose Baltimore this week. I think Denver is going to beat them. I think the defense is going to be a little bit too much for Flacco. Flacco looked terrible in the Monday night game. I don't think they really rebound too well. Not in the Mile High. So I'm taking Denver. You got Ron.
I'm with Mark. I'm going with Denver. I like the way Denver's defense is playing this year. They're putting pressure on the quarterback. Nobody's really talking about Vaughn, but he's doing well also this year too. And the only thing that makes me a little nervous is that the Denver quarterback, he did hurt his knee in that game. So I don't know if he was practicing or did not play. Yeah, Keenum. So that makes me a little bit nervous, but I'm going to give it to Denver.
Marcus, who you got?
Well, so is he not playing, or did he just not practice?
No, I think he's playing. I think he just didn't practice one day.
Okay, so it's a home game for Denver. I'm gonna take Denver. Baltimore, they look good. They didn't look good at all last week in Cincinnati. I would say probably Denver has a better defense than Cincinnati. So I think Flacco will go up there and throw on the goose egg. So I'm gonna go Denver.
It's in Baltimore.
It's in Baltimore?
Yeah, it's in Baltimore.
It's in Baltimore.
It is in Baltimore.
It is in Baltimore.
Sorry. Well, then I'm still going with Denver anyway because I don't think Flacco's going to do it.
I'm going with Denver too. So I guess we agree across the board on that one, right?
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah, Mark did pick over.
I have a problem with what the Ravens are doing when they're bringing in the quarterback, the
Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson. They're bringing in Lamar Jackson. Just, here and there, not always a gimmick play. They're bringing him in. I don't care what Flacco says in the media. He don't like that. No starting quarterback does. They even talked to Troy Aikman about it. And they're bringing him in at times. I saw them bring him in a couple times in the red zone. And I was just like, what are you doing?
They brought him in and put Flacco out there.
Yeah, receiver or something.
So you're playing going out.
Right, so you're playing 10 on 11.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, come on. You got to stop that. If he's not ready to play right now, put him in if you get a blowout game. You let him play. But you got to stop messing with your quarterback, pulling him out the game like that. It messes with his psyche and it messes with any type of rhythm that he's in. So I'm definitely going with Baltimore.
And why are you jumping up?
I'm sorry.
Why are you jumping over
RG3?
RG3?
Denver. Huh?
Why are you jumping over RG3?
Oh, because he's inactive.
I know.
So we got Denver across the board. So those are our picks for week 3. Now we're going to get into some of the crazy topics that we've had during the week this week. There's been a lot of things that's gone on in the NFL. Let's start off with the I think the shocker trade, which is Josh Gordon going to the Patriots. So Marcus, since you're a Tom Brady love boy, let's hear about it.
Well, I think it's obvious that without Edelman there, and even with Edelman there, they need some star wide receivers. They're just not getting enough productivity out of those receivers. Most of the passes are going to James White and the Gronk. So they really need it. And one thing I found out, the Patriots have made 28 moves at wide receiver since March.
Yeah, I read that
the
other day.
Yeah, so they're definitely trying to get some help in there to help Tom Brady. And the way I see it, it's a win-win situation for them. If they bring him in there, and Josh Gordon is a risk, but he's more of a high reward if it works out. If he doesn't pan out, then they've lost nothing, they gained nothing. And if he does pan out well, you got the old days of like throwing the Randy Moss out there. It'd be much better than it is now. And it's pretty much a win for Josh Gordon. He probably needs to go someplace where there's structure and there's discipline. Because that's Belichick ain't having all that nonsense up there in New England. So he probably needs something like that to help guide him. And they don't have that. They don't seem to have that going out party culture. Everybody except Gronk maybe in New England. So maybe being around those players and being around that system will help him get his life together. And so I think it's a good move. It's a win-win for everybody if it works out.
What do you think, Brian?
I agree with Marcus. I mean, it was a smart move on the Patriots' part. I mean, you have a potential like number one receiver right now, and if it doesn't work out, what have you lost? A 5th-round pick?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's no risk. It's all reward really. But I mean, that he could be a game changer for New England. I mean, like Marcus was saying, New England don't lose a lot of games. Well, if Josh plays like he's supposed to play, they definitely won't be losing any games. I mean, that dude, when they talked about him being released, I kind of wanted him to get on the Cowboys, but that's just a whole nother argument me and Herman will have later. But yeah. But I mean, like Marcus said, they have the structure, they have the facilities, they have the ability, to get the best out of them. I mean, they did well with Randy. They've done well with a lot of ones. Corey Dillon back in the day was a little trouble running back. They won a Super Bowl with him. So
LeGarrette Blount.
Yeah, LeGarrette Blount's another one. I mean, nobody wanted him after a minute, and now everybody and grandmother wants him on the squad. So yeah, they definitely made a great move for them. And like I said, when they get Edelman back too, I mean, that offense is probably going to be unstoppable.
What do you think about it?
I think coming from Cleveland, where the structure wasn't disciplined, I think this is going to be a good move for Josh Gordon. If Josh can keep his head straight, I think it's a win-win. It's going to be a win-win for both of them. It's a matter of that. But I think he has a short leash. The way New England runs their tight ship is either you're going to fall in line or you ain't going to be there. So we'll find out real fast whether or not he can turn himself around and get in order. I do have a question though. Did Cleveland set him down, or he set himself down when
he claimed about a hamstring?
On a photo shoot or some kind of promo photo shoot.
I don't buy that though. I don't buy it.
Well, they said he practiced and I think all week, right? And then he came in Saturday and was like, I got a hand.
But he had it on a photo shoot.
But it happened
on Friday night.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
I don't buy it.
I think there's more to it, but I mean, you'll know if it was anything related to his other problems off the field.
And
we'll know.
Another other thing, if you go back to his track record, even in college, he's got caught numerous times with either marijuana or alcohol in the system. So I mean, he's set himself up with a terrible track record with this. He's got to get himself clean. That's the only way this thing's gonna work. He has to get clean.
He said, I mean, I agree too. It's definitely it's a good trade if it works out. I don't know that it's gonna work out though. That's the thing. Like a lot of the other trouble players that the New England dealt with, Randy Moss, LeGarrette Blount, Corey Dillon, they weren't on the level of Josh Gordon, in my opinion, on the level of trouble when it comes to. I mean, this guy said he was playing high on the field and drunk on the field at times. That's kind of crazy. You're going to have a very demanding quarterback in Tom Brady. And Tom Brady will get up in your face. Tom Brady is the franchise. And how will Josh Gordon handle that? Because he was the star in Cleveland. Cleveland needed him. He goes to New England. New England might need him, but they will cut his ass in a heartbeat if he acts up. So this is going to be a culture shock for him, I think. It's going to open his eyes.
But you know what might be a refreshment for him is the winning.
That's true.
He's never won in Cleveland.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, winning heals a lot of issues. You know, you start getting that taste of winning, you want more winning.
That's true.
You know, maybe he'll do what he has to do to continue getting that winning edge.
We'll see, but you know, like Rick James said, cocaine is a hell of a drug. All right, so now let's move on to these Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Ooh, it's magic.
If anybody said at the beginning of the year that Fitzpatrick was going to do what he's doing, you're a liar.
No, you're a Bucs fan.
No. Not even the Bucs fan.
We're not talking about in Madden either.
Right? No, not in Madden. Okay.
All right.
You the Bucs fan that I know
you would have lost all your football credentials if you just
exactly. But he's doing. Fitzpatrick is definitely doing. Last week he put up 402 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. I mean, let's talk about Fitzpatrick.
And his percentage was what, 82.3, Marcus?
I believe so. Yes.
I mean, that is phenomenal. I mean, and he's done it back-to-back weeks against good teams. I mean, teams you already penciled in. Oh, that's a W. Right, that's a W.
You thought.
You know, I mean, you were going in there expecting him just to be like the perennial backup quarterback, just hand the ball off, throw it here and there, keep us in the game. Right. You know, maybe win it. With defense. But that joke is lighting people up. I mean, I can't remember the last time I seen number 11 down the field that many times in a game.
Man.
I mean, right off the bat last week, the first play of the game, he's gone, 9 route, touchdown. So, I mean, they're doing it, and his touch and his poise, and I mean, just the way he's shaking the safeties and looking at him and got him going over to the left when he wants to throw it to the right. I mean, it's phenomenal, man. I feel sorry for Winston because, brother, I don't know when you're gonna get your job back.
And one thing about Fitzpatrick, he's been in the league 13 years. He's been with 7 different teams. Started out with St. Louis Rams, Cincinnati Bengals, Buffalo Bills, Tennessee Titans, Houston Texans, New York Jets, and now Tampa Bay. Harvard grad, so you would never imagine having an Ivy League quarterback playing in the NFL like this. But I think you make a great point about if they winning, do you put Winston back in there?
No, absolutely not.
I don't see it. I don't think so.
I mean, Deshaun Jackson's already said he doesn't want Jameis Winston to come take him back to spot.
Did he say that? He actually said that?
That's what I've read.
Use those words, or did he just say? Did he keep it political? You got to stay with the hot hand. Blah, blah,
I don't know his exact wording, but it was to the effect of let's keep Fitz in as a starting quarterback.
Yeah, there's no way that you can't justify putting Jameis Winston back in because he hasn't had a track record of success really either. You know what I mean?
And not only that,
hot hand right now.
Not only that, Winston, the whole time he's been down there or been in Florida, he's been a distraction.
Even there's been something going on.
I think this is to be a lesson learned from Winston too. Make him sit. Let him sit. Let him learn from Fitz as far as how to be disciplined, how to conduct himself,
how to dress at a press conference.
Yeah, until Fitzpatrick loses them again, and I'm talking in bad fashion. Okay. Then you read.
I think it had to be more than just one. It had to be more than just one.
I mean, that is definitely a reality. Yeah. Fitzpatrick has done this before. I mean, he did it with the Texans. He was lighting it up, doing well with the Texans. I can't remember. It was another squad. Maybe it was the Jets. It was the Jets. He was doing well with. Eventually, he did come back down to earth. We'll see.
But he wasn't doing it like this, though. Yeah, he wasn't doing it like this.
Well, I mean, it's just too.
But he probably didn't have the personnel that he has right now either. So.
That's true. He never had it. He said that himself. I think
that's another plus.
I think it's a matter of the personnel he has because Mike Evans and Deshaun Jackson are 2 really good receivers, and just sometimes you catch a offensive coordinator and you're in the right system, And I think there might be a case of that he was an okay quarterback in another system, but now I don't know who the OC is for Tampa, but maybe he just caught the right caught magic in the bottle at the right time with the right OC, playing to his strengths. I mean, because he's lighting it up out there.
Yeah. Most of the years he played, he's been a career backup. That's all he's been.
So I mean, he knows how to study film. He knows how to prep for the game. So he's just out there doing it right now.
I mean, the only caveat to this is he's went against two very bad defenses. The Steelers and
yeah, but going into the season, you didn't know that. No, he hadn't played the Steelers yet.
I'm sorry.
He played them this week.
Yeah, but you had no clue.
Just going into the season, you didn't think that he would do this. But
no.
I think it's his job to lose at this point. Winston doesn't have the resume that says you go back to him no matter what. He just doesn't have that.
So which one puts up more this week, Mahomes or Fitzpatrick? Because Mahomes been doing it too over there in Kansas City, and I mean he's making Andy Reid look like a genius.
Yeah.
Mahomes he's 38 for 582 yards and 10 touchdowns.
10. He leads the league in touchdowns.
Yeah.
Easy touchdown. Yeah. So I mean, Mahomes has been he's been amazing. Him and Fitz, they've been amazing. I definitely did not expect what I saw on Sunday against Kansas City. 6 touchdowns. I mean, he's just throwing it like it's not even an issue. It's not even a problem. I mean, like he's out there just playing, playground football.
Yeah.
Definitely.
He's the Deshaun Watson of this year. Deshaun Watson of this year.
Because Deshaun Watson of last year has disappeared.
Yeah.
I don't know where he's gone to. But speaking of what Kansas City did to the Steelers look like they're in turmoil. They do, and it's kind of ugly right now.
That ship is looking bad. Mike Tomlin has to get a grip on what's going on with the personnel, with the distractions, everything with that. If not, he might find himself out of the job. So
I don't know. As bad as y'all looking, they still stick with their coaches.
Well, let me just say this.
You know that.
The saying is most of the time, a coach will be with a team for 10 years and then they start to tune you out.
Right.
It's been 10 years for him?
It's been 12 years.
12. Oh, okay.
So he's at that particular mark. A lot of players respect him, but he is that player's coach.
Because he's right behind Belichick and
Marvin Lewis.
Marvin Lewis, yeah.
He's like next, right?
He's 12 years in. But, I mean, and James Harrison said it, too, that the problem is a lot of his players don't fear him. That's the main ingredients they got Belichick and Patriots. His team, his players fear him. Tomlin and his teams want to clap. He want to chest bump. He want to clap hands. He want to rah-rah, be a cheerleader with it. Much like Terry Bradshaw said. They lose against Tampa, we're gonna have some real big problems. We're gonna have some serious problems, which I think they can overcome. But it's gonna be some problems.
I don't know if I necessarily agree that they fear him. Although he is more of a rah-rah coach and more health. I mean, they know the total line. They know when things are gonna happen. I mean, last week when they were getting blown out, you saw the cut of him getting into the Steelers' offense and defense, and let him know. And then they got back in that game. Now it got out of hand later on, but the Steelers got close back in that game. So he's done that. Not only that, with the Brown issue, Antonio Brown, talking about trade me on Twitter, and then not showing up to the facilities on Monday. Apparently yesterday they had a conversation. There was some discipline involved. He wouldn't get into it. But, I mean, when you listen to Tomlin talk, he has the pulse of that team. He'll get it under control. I'm not too worried about this thing.
I think it's a little bit of both, though. Like, when you saw the offensive lineman come out and make comments about Le'Veon Bell,
yeah,
and then they asked Mike Tomlin about it, you could see in his answers that he was pissed, I think, about it, because they don't like anything outside of the house. And you know what I mean?
Let's go back to last year when Antonio Brown had the video in the locker room. Mm-hmm. I mean, some of this stuff was created before, and to me, Tomlin didn't necessarily nip it in the bud.
Yeah, he didn't nip it in the bud with Le'Veon here. Le'Veon was talking about his contract last year when y'all were in the playoffs.
But he can't really.
Yeah, but Le'Veon, that's a front office situation. That's not really Tomlin's thing. That's front office situation.
But you need to get your players.
You need to get your players not. You need to get your players not
Yeah.
talking about it.
Right.
That's what you need to do. They don't need to be involved with it. You leave that to management. You leave that to the owners. You don't get the players talking about it.
Yes. The players, though, they're smart now. You know, respect their coach or not, the media is their tool. You know what I mean? And the media comes and asks them the question. The media does. You got to put it. The media does start it.
Oh,
The player needs to be smarter than that and focus on what's at hand at that point in time. But sometimes that's their only tool to get it out there. You know what I mean? So they're going to take advantage of it. He wants to feed his family. You know, Thomas is feeding his family. You know, he's not putting his body at risk. So those are the things that these players are thinking about. But it's when things start getting out of the house, that's when you got problems. And don't let them have a players only meeting, because if they do, it's done.
yeah.
Everybody is done. Players only meeting means.
But I think
pack it up
Thomas
for the
will get this. I mean, like you said, he's 12 years in. I think he got this coaching thing under
I think he'll get it under control too. I think everything
I sure hope so.
will come in.
Yeah, we know you hope so.
If he don't, he's more than welcome to come as a defense coordinator. Yeah.
Or he can actually.
Come with the coach.
Oh, he'll get another job. That's for sure. He will get another job.
I was jumping the gun. My bad. So let's talk about the halftime retirement of Vontae Davis. This dude decided at halftime to put on his street clothes and retire from the game of football in the NFL. I've watched football my entire life, and I've never seen anything like that or heard anything like that before. I couldn't even believe it. I thought it was a joke at first when I started reading the headline. I was like, "This is a joke, right?" But I mean, he said that he felt like he didn't belong on the field anymore.
Never heard of this before. Hope to never hear it again. To me, that's like you battling with your boys. You're in a fight, and in the middle of the fight, you just gonna say, you know what? I quit. Y'all just go ahead and do it.
This is crazy.
I mean, and then what you do? Do you allow him to come back into the facility to get his check?
When everybody else left. No, I think you mail him this stuff.
Yeah,
I'm sure they got direct deposit in the NFL. I hope they do.
But still, that's just something you just don't do. You just don't do it.
You don't, but in his defense, football is a tough sport. If your heart and your head are not in it, you definitely don't need to go back on the field. I'm not necessarily saying he should have just said I retired at that time, but maybe he should have had a conversation with the coach and say, look, coach, I'm just not in it. You need to take me off the game.
Why
Why
he doesn't wait until after the game?
I can't really defend that. I don't know why.
I mean, why wait? If look, there was one
it just
time.
makes more sense at the end of the game.
Yeah.
You know, then at the end of the game, say, hey, coach, I'm done. I wasn't in it. I can't play
You
anymore.
could have faked out an injury.
Yeah, or
Exactly.
something. But I don't know why
Exactly.
I had I need my retirement papers. Can you print that for me?
Hey, so back in the day, I was working at Burger King. I was like, I had enough. I left a lunch break. You know, so sometimes.
So you can understand it, homie.
Yeah, so I feel him. He's like, yo, I don't want to be here.
But talking about you didn't retire from Burger King, you just quit. He retired.
But I'm saying, you know,
he wants
it's hot outside.
He wants a retirement check after this.
You know what I'm saying? He can get home and watch the rest of the games on TV if he leave now. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Beat traffic. You know, it's traffic getting out of that stadium.
It is.
You know, he can leave now, no traffic, get home, watch the rest of the games on TV, be chilling. You know what I'm saying? So
I just can't fathom it.
Could he call you guys and apologize to you? Would he be able to call you and apologize?
Man.
Marcus, he can call you and apologize, Marcus?
I mean, it's sort of like Brian said. It's a tough sport mentally and physically. You're not doing yourself any. You can really hurt yourself if you're not into it mentally. You know, or get somebody else hurt. So I mean, sure, he could have just said, "Take me out, coach. I'm done." But you know, he did what he did. I don't really blame him too far. I mean,
Man,
I can understand why the team will be mad at him.
Come on, man. We in halftime, right? And we going over video and we talking about the first half. This
Hey,
dude
Herman,
is
I can't do this anymore.
right. This dude is putting on his street clothes and he is walking out of the facility. Come on.
Hey, I'm declining that phone call. He's not talking to me anymore.
Everybody's kind of probably looking. I can imagine what that looks like in the locker room.
But see, my understanding was he had been taken out of the game anyway. He got like burnt like on one of the very first plays of the game, and they had benched him anyway. So
I don't know how they kept showing him making this tackle. You
So
jumped
he
up
was-
cheering and all
Yeah,
kinds of
wait,
stuff.
because he was celebrating in one of the plays.
Really?
I don't think that Brent's Marcus. I think he was still in the game plan.
maybe I heard wrong. But
he was jumping up on one play that he made.
well, I'm just saying it's a very mental game as much as it is physically. If your mind ain't in it, you don't want to be out there taking them kind of hits.
Yeah,
If your mind ain't in it.
you don't retire at halftime.
Well, actually, you do. And look, now he's in the NFL record books. Okay, he's the first one to do it.
Yeah.
So they'll talk about this for years to come. So kudos to you, Vontae.
All right, so we're gonna move on to our last topic, and we're gonna beat this dead horse once again because every week it comes up, and that's John Gruden trading away Khalil Mack, and he keeps saying to the media, "We really need to get some pressure on the quarterback. We got to figure out a way to get some pressure on the quarterback."
You know who don't have to figure out how to get pressure on the quarterback? Chicago.
Exactly. Exactly. It's ridiculous. I mean, you traded away the best pass rusher in the league.
Possible MVP of the league.
And this dude is balling out, and you're on the camera saying you can't get no pressure on the quarterback. I mean, it comes down to, and we talked about it before the show went live, but John Gruden has no pressure to win. He has a 10-year guaranteed $100 million contract. He's guaranteed money. He doesn't have to win. He doesn't. There's no pressure at all. So it's almost like it's a joke to him that he keeps saying it. In all honesty, like that would be the last thing that you would hear me say if I traded away Khalil Mack and Khalil Mack's doing what he's doing. Oh, I got to figure out how to get pressure on the quarterback. You ain't gonna hear me say that.
But what he really needs to do is get a better grip on that offense. I mean, the offense seems to come out blazing in the first half of these games, and in the second and third, in the third and the fourth quarter, they're kind of redundant and not getting the scores that they need. They should have beat Denver last week. But the defense was tired at that point. They got down the field. They got the points that they needed to win the game. So, I mean, you got to worry about that defense, but you got to get that offense a little more efficient too. That's your forte. Get that offense going.
So you think maybe he's setting up his defensive coordinator as a scapegoat because that's all he ever talks about is not being able to get pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah.
So that's it.
I go back to the beginning of the preseason when we talked about this. You have your number one, your star player, and you're the new coach, and you don't even call him. Yeah, that's to me that's unheard of. And Khalil Mack even said, "Hey, if he'd at least given me a phone call to say, hey, look, man, we really want you to play," he would have considered. He would probably stayed in Oakland. But
that's that John Gruden thing. That I'm the face. I'm the most important person. Yeah, of the franchise. So.
This is the outcome for it. This is the result.
Well, that's the last topic we have for you guys tonight. Hope you enjoyed the show. Marcus, you want to give us our parting words?
I want to encourage you guys, if you like what you hear, if you like what you see, subscribe, share, and like it. And remember to hit the notification bell so you get notified when we go live. Join us again next week. Same bat time, same bat channel for episode 7. We out.
Peace.